So at this point, as we move the table back over to the side, we have 15 more minutes before lunch, about 20 minutes. We're going to convene for lunch at 12:15. At this point of the session, we're going to bring up our sister Dana Marniche to discuss her energetic healing sessions, some of the work that she does as it relates to energy healing.
Good.
So we'll bring her up right now so that she can share some of that information with us as we move this.
I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank God for allowing me to be here and for connecting our ancestors together.
That's right.
Because where I'm coming from is from a God place, not a place of nationalism, even though I believe that we can look at ourselves as a community. But I'm not coming from a political place or a race place or like I said, a national place. I'm coming from a place of a God space. And that's where I come from when I do my research as well. Because my research is actually inspired. It's inspired by my ancestors. And my ancestors actually come from all over, not just from one place. I'm Asiatic, not African. I'll talk to you later about that, about what I mean. And I just want to say I feel like this is a very, not the word synchronistic, but very fated meeting for me to meet with the Moorish Americans, especially this particular group.
Yes.
Because I actually have been in contact with other groups, and before, I have to say frankly, before I met people like Shamanic, like, and there's another group, I guess it's another group, Lord Abba's group, and Akhenaten. I think I had a kind of not too good view of Islamic Asiatics in America.
Yes.
I'm thinking of people like Farrakhan and other people that kind of separate themselves from other groups of humans. Okay, so after talking with Sharif and after meeting with, well, actually being invited on Lord Abba's internet show. Yes. And you know, I'm very sensitive to vibration because I'm, like I say, I'm a healer. I was born clairvoyant. I was brought up in a very kind of mystical and hermeneutic related organization. I don't know if you've heard of Theosophy.
Yes, man.
And after talking to Sharif, I found out that this is basically a place where the philosophy is a lot, or maybe identical.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say I feel I'm very blessed to now be meeting as was fated. It's a fated event.
That's right.
So, for example, when Lord Abba uses the term beloved and other Lord uses the term beloved, I feel a very strong vibration. And it's something I think that needs to be spread among what you call Asiatics. Because right now there's a lot of hatefulness. It's a self-hatred, and that's reflected out into the outer world.
Right.
That's right.
About, towards themselves.
That's right.
So I'm not the one that's going to stand here and say that I feel that everything that we do is right. We're not, there's a whole group of us that are not loving.
That's right.
But
I'm so sorry, sis.
But I feel like I said, this particular group of my community and people that Akhenaten and Lord Abba and other certain Moors people calling themselves Moors belong to
Yes.
are what I'm about.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So I think the difference between the civil rights movement and what's going on today, a lot of times, is that we don't have a moral high ground. We're not coming from a place of spirituality.
That's right.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up. I think Brother Tunica was saying something about, I didn't write the whole thing out, I'm forgetting what I was going to say. Oh, separating yourself as much as possible from those groups that don't reflect yourself or your true vision, because that's what's going to hold other people away. It's going to push other people away. That's why I was not, I never looked into what the Moors were about, because all I thought, when I thought about Marcus Garvey was just about separation and, hatefulness, insulting other people. That's what I thought. But I know I've been told by a few people that Marcus Garvey wasn't just about that. I mean, I know there are people that are about that, though.
Yes, they are.
And so I just want to let people know that when I do my healing, I deal with ancestors, and that's all ancestors. So everybody in here has ancestors from different places, not just Africa, not just Europe, even, the Far East.
That's right.
People have, So being clairvoyant, sometimes I can see that, and I can see that a lot of our particular karma is due to our diverse ancestry, okay? We're bringing in our own lineages, okay? In my, my practice, it's like a shamanic practice that dates back, is this on? It dates back 3,000 years.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Dates back 3,000 years BC. It's a shamanism comes from the Africans that went to, or my shamanism comes from the Africans that went to Asia, like the Anyang people or Shang people of China. That's where it developed first in that area. So they dealt a lot with ancestors. And one of the practices or beliefs that we were taught is that your lineages is where you reincarnate into.
All right.
Okay? So whatever lineage you come from, just make sure that you're not talking about yourself. Okay? Okay? Go back, and for example, if somebody's treating you wrong or you're not having money, go back, tell yourself to dream about it, and you will know whatever lineage you come from, what you were doing that created that energy. Because all of what's happening in the world or in your life is due to energy, your own energy. Okay, that's been created over lifetimes and through your lineages that you come back through. Okay, so, let's see, let me just make sure. So, a big part of my practice is also spiritual arrangement. Like I said about ancestors, and we all have ancestors, not necessarily all our ancestors, but some ancestors that are not healthy, and that means either emotionally, mentally, physically healthy, and that causes problems. We also have related spirits of our ancestors and of ourselves from past lives that can cause problems. Okay? So this is also part of the African tradition.
That's right.
Okay? So I know a lot of people get, a little scared or whatever, but I just know from personal experience that everything that's happened in my life is not due to some other person or some other group of people, but myself. Okay? So I'm going to just let you know, I have different kinds of energetic healing practices that I've come across and trained in. The first one was a Japanese type healing that was so strong. It's a form of ki energy or chi energy that was so strong that in certain of the sects it could light a match, and certain of the groups are the people were initiated into, and actually that group I got out of because it was a little too strong. It ended up being more like an exorcism thing where you channel the light into certain areas, and it could arouse the spirits. For example, arouse the spirits, and then you would calm them down, but sometimes they didn't get calmed down. And you would walk out, and you'd have people across the highway yelling at you, you know, or turning and looking that you don't even know in the subway, because I lived up in New York then, and just smiling, you know, that they don't know what they're doing, but the spiritual world is always in motion. Like even now, when I went to Brother Hopkins Bay, his, is it temple you call it? Masjid? Well, first of all, I saw a lot of light around him, an overshadowing of some sort. I don't know if I just told you I'm clairvoyant, kind of, and so I really believe that, you know, he's expressive of what the top leadership in the Moors, or this group, is about.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, and I brought that up to say that, you know, the spiritual world, there's a hierarchy in the spiritual world, and I learned that in theosophy as well. There's a hierarchy. There's, you know, you can call it, well, I call it the Christ consciousness.
All right.
It's not Jesus Christ, but there's a Christ consciousness. A Horus, you can call it Horus consciousness. Okay, and then there's different levels. So we all evolve over lifetimes to these different levels. Okay, so light channeling is a way of kind of bringing through your own spiritual or light energy. It's kind of getting rid of the energetic negativity of the spirit world. Now that practice came from Shintoism, which was the Japanese form of actually ancient Japanese religion. So like I said, I got out of that because it was very, for example, you know, you would give light to a person, and then they would start manifesting, meaning their spiritual, the people around them would start coming out. And they could come out speaking, just like in church, I guess. Sometimes we'd be speaking ancient languages, or languages of your ancestors, or the person that you heard in another life would be telling you what you did to them and why they took care of your ancestors, you know? So there's something on the other side. It's a spiritual revenge. There's no such thing as death.
That's right. Come on.
That's right. So people think that you know you're not getting along in this life with someone, and then it's just going to go away like that. It's not like that.
Wow.
Yeah, you go on the other side. You can still be fighting. When you come back, you're with the people that you haven't worked things out with.
Correct.
Okay, so. Okay. So if you're teaching that, perfect. That's why I say this group can save humanity. If you're teaching that kind of thing,
Yes, ma'am.
then this group can save humanity. But you have to get rid of those people that are somehow separate yourselves from the people that are, like I said, the haters in the world. People that hate others, because that energy is what's going to destroy you. Okay. So I will personally make sure that I start promoting this particular group, or whatever groups are practicing that love consciousness among the Moors, because I believe that it really can get out there. Okay. So, all right. So the next thing I got into was a similar light channeling practice called Joy. You can actually go online and find this yourself and maybe join it. It's based in New York and other places in America. So they actually have a talisman which you wear, and they initiate you into it after receiving, after you receive the light several times. You know, you can go and do it yourself, really. Okay. Or actually 15 or so times. So that practice actually also, again, dispels spiritual clouds. They focus on the spiritual clouds around you, and you can obtain healing. There's other ways they teach you to disperse spiritual clouds, for example, tithing and offering to your church, charity, that kind of thing. Having beauty around your home, flowers, and, you know, cleanliness is next to godliness, so that kind of thing. So I use that, actually, energy to heal people with cancer or other kinds of, you know, toxins in their bodies, that kind of thing. But that, in terms of helping me emotionally and mentally, or with, like I grew up, I didn't really have a good relationship with my mom.
So they didn't really help me that much. The energy I would, give channel, and it would go away. I would give them light at home, and it would go away. I had a lot of domestic friction in my life. So later on, I got into I saw a lot of people left that organization and went to another one, which was a Korean-based organization that I mostly focus on today. And that is, it's Qigong, which uses the Qi or Qi energy, but it's balanced energy from nature. So it's the grace of Allah, or the God energy that's in or behind nature, okay? And they call it the breath of life, Qi, the breath of life. So what we do is we sweep away negative energy, as well as do a kind of body work to channel that energy into everyone, and they feel like they're back in harmony with the universe again, and with society, with everybody. So that's the first thing I noticed that, or the last thing I noticed that really helped me with getting along with my mom. When I went back after a few times of receiving that, first of all, when I would go outside, then people would start, this is in New York City, people would start saying hello to me, hi, how are you? Just on the street, from that energy. But when I went home, it was like my relationship with my mom was completely different, and that we had terrible karma together. I mean, I know she's been my sister in another life, and we were always competing, that kind of thing. So after that, things got better and better, and I knew that I had to spread this to other people, because that's that's like one of the few things that, people can't help themselves with, relations with other people, in employment, with your child, your husband, what else? And so there's other things that energetically can be healed. For example, prosperity comes from a certain chakra of your body. Prosperity and money, the ability to get money, is blocked by negative energy in certain chakras. So all these actually practices work with the chakras, the energy and meridians of the body, which are connected to all the stars and planets of the universe. So we're considered the microcosm of the macrocosm. Okay, and it's actually, you can receive the same energy through what you guys do in your temples. That love energy that goes around, because I felt it in Brother Hopkins' temple. It was like the Holy Spirit. And I saw that energy around you, and I said, oh my gosh, this is, so I was just absorbing it the whole time. But then someone got up and they started kind of talking loud and yelling, and I kind of ruined my, now, we have a tendency to do that, and that's why, when we get very passionate, the ancient Kemicho said, stay away from the passionate man, because such and such. Because, you never know when that's coming from kind of a spiritual attachment of the ancestors, or something good. But usually if it's something good, you're not going to be involved with a lot of yelling and hooting and hollering. But, so I haven't seen that in here. So does anybody have a question? Yeah. You want, yes?
Oh, no. I was queuing you 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes left?
Yes.
Does anybody have a question? Yes.
Do you teach?
Yes, good question. Well, I teach workshops now in where I live in New Jersey and in the Philadelphia area, but I'm also teaching, I have a format to teach online, which is called Learn It Live. So I'm going to start teaching we do sacred chants, shamanistic chants online. So I don't know if it's in league with your Moorish, I don't know how much you can do as a Moorish organization. You have to, I guess, check that out first. But yeah, I'll be teaching Learn It Live. So you can contact me on my either Facebook or Afroasiatics.com, blogspot.com. Afroasiatics.blogspot.com. Has everybody been to that?
Yes.
Okay. And or academia.edu, the Afroasiatics blogspot owner. Okay, those are the three that are most important. I'm not gonna. I don't think I should give my regular one of my email addresses, because I get so much junk on there now. But yeah. So if nobody has any more questions, yes. Yes.
I just wanted to know your take on the relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
Well, the subconscious mind, to me, is just another level of the spiritual world. So when they talk about subconscious, that's, like I said, all these different planes, astral planes, where other things exist, good and bad. Sometimes I'm looking at people, I hope you're not recording, yes, you are recording, but sometimes I'm looking at people, I see other things, elementals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Instead of, so hopefully people don't know what that is. But, and then people tell me, oh yes, when I was young, the elementals came and told me that I was actually part of them, one of them, In our practice, we learn that although we all come from God, we come from different levels when we come to the earth plane. We come from different, areas. So, and then we evolve back to God, of course. But the one God expresses itself in different ways. And we are the children of God, or the star seeds of God, in a way. But we come to manifest on the earth plane through different means. So, see, you're smiling. Okay. Oh, you didn't want to say it, so I had to say it. No. No, but yes.
As far as libation and honoring your ancestors, is that a good practice to participate in?
Yeah, but it has to be done by a true, because that was the way we got in problems before. Because if you're just honoring your ancestors and not realizing that behind that is the God energy, you can end up just putting your ancestors before God, and that's how we got in trouble before. A lot of our different cultures in the past got in trouble. So that's the basis of Asiatic and Afro-Asiatic and African practice was ancestor veneration. But there's a good practice. The one I do, I actually have had all my lineages raised to a higher level because that's the only way I can do healing and be protected and protect the other person. Because otherwise, you can take on the negativity of the person you're healing and wind up with their diseases or their problems. So, and there have been a few people that have done that, unfortunately hadn't had their ancestral lineages raised. So what we do is, this practice I do raises people to a higher, their ancestors to a higher level, and that's how they get healed. They're also unblocking the blockages in the spiritual body, astral body. So. If nobody has a question? Yes.
So in terms of lineage, and you all's cosmology, in reference to coming back through ancestral lineage, how do you all understand which person is coming through, right? So like my wife and I, we're about to have a child. Like which line is it coming from? Her line, my line, or how do you
No, first of all, you two are already connected in the past. That's why certain laws were put in place in terms of sexuality and, creation of families, because there's certain spiritual laws about, the return of the reincarnation, so you have a lot of people having kids out of wedlock, and then, the man ends up having to be like a slave to the family because it could have been a karmic thing there before,
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to say that for everybody. I mean, everybody.
You're in a good place. This is going to be a more scientific of America meeting right now. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, but you can't tell. I mean, I could. Well, I'm not gonna look. But
You can look, it's all right.
no, but and that's also the thing with abortion, or why you're not really supposed to have abortions and stuff, because there's already a plan in place, or why you're not supposed to have, relations out of wedlock, because you can attract anything or anybody. and then you have problems, But in terms of, like I said, you guys were already together in other lives, and you're going to bring forth your own lineages, both, which is, your lineage is her lineage already. So, yeah.
Are there more than 7 chakras? That you know?
Yeah, there are,
Okay.
yeah. So you knew that already?
No, well, I.
You learned that on-
Confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. And there are many meridians and many other points. In fact, what is it? In the Hinduism, there's like 180,000 or something. But, so I actually do other practices to help raise my vibration. Oh, sorry. What? Time's up.
Yes, go wrap it up, thank you.
Okay, well, I was going to wrap up doing a demonstration, but
We'll just say this.
I'll do that during lunch.
For those who like, we're about to break for lunch, and for those who like to stay and continue, you can do so that we'll stay prudent as far as time is concerned. But instead, we pay it only to 5.
Oh, just one last thing, though, if you want to go. I was going to talk about, I do also Hindu ceremonies for prosperity. Because with like many people, especially many people of our so-called community, because actually, like I said, I try to relate to all my lineages. I don't have, I try not to say that I'm just one people, even though my karma is to be among, born, in an Asiatic, I'll say body, whatever, Asiatic body, but, I relate to all my lineages, but I do, and in fact, I have Hindu lineages, so I feel attracted to that. So I do, Lakshmi, for example, the goddess of prosperity, or the deity or consciousness that relates to prosperity, okay, is that's why a lot of Hindus do that, because you can do the ceremony and then you'll see life flow more easily in terms of prosperity. Or they have ancestor ceremonies as well. They have the Tarpanam in South India. They do. You can do that on your own. Actually, look it up online. You have Reiki, which is another light channeling thing. They have Reiki for prosperity and for money. Now they're tuning people for. So you can go online and do that. And actually, I've tried it and some of it works. So I'm just saying. So so all these practices you guys should get to start at least looking into and know, because that's also what's bringing forth a new era. Yeah, which was, and which our people knew, the Asiatics knew, and they're bringing that back. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the in the PowerPoint. So, but if anybody would like to go to lunch, you may. But if you'd like to stay, I can show you, give you a demonstration of the light channel and also the energy thing we did. So.
Just ruin lunch for everybody.
For those who would like to, please return by 1:15.
So, now volunteers.
Yes.
You know what, I'm not going to do, I'm going to do for the other thing. You said you wanted-
I can't see the extra. All right, so it's a line.
Just quickly cut it down. So we'll just do a quick transfer to the ancestry. And you're reminded of thanking them for allowing me to do this. Ready, Mo? Actually, hold your head up. You don't have to look as you want, but I'm going to give you different parts. You can talk too. Are you feeling anything? You said you're feeling a lot of energy? Okay, so that's what she said. Okay, go ahead. No, you can talk about it. That's good, it means your chakras are pretty clear. Oh, it's up to you. I'm not gonna give you too much right now. So there's different chakras in this area, 4 different things in the throat area. And right above the navel and below the navel. Solar plexus in this area, very important. Or, yeah, you can turn it. You can turn it either face that way on your chair or that way. In case you feel subconscious. Always drink water after you're finished because the light is actually can cause the toxins to start flowing, so you want to keep those flowing. So what I'm saying is Amaterasu or Ama was the goddess of light energy. It's also known in Africa. And it's invoking that energy which is in the universe, which we're all attached to. All of it, when the Hindus, for example, talk about deities, or Africans talk about deities, all it means is the different consciousnesses that are in the universe. It's not talking about, they're all part of, Allah. That's why they used to talk about the 360 idols of Allah, or the goddesses of Allah, that kind of thing. There are different aspects of Allah, of energy, the energetic, or Gaia energy, Chi energy behind the phenomenal world or nature. And this actually allows the anxiety to go away and allow the toxins to flow down. You can also combine this with the Christ energy and invoke the Christ, love of Christ, meaning that consciousness that is Christ, not a man.
Right.
But actually the Christ is supposed to be the S-U-N of God. So that's what we're evolving towards. it's just my intention that's making the light flow. Intention of channeling that aspect of God. And making, you have to making sure that it's not, it's not coming from me. It's, we're not God yet, so. Even though God's in us, we're not God. At least not on earth. Big breaths, please.
How you feel?
So, just want to let you know, every time you do this kind of thing, you have to drink water, so you need some help. Yeah. But anyway, that's one of the practices, like I said, the more powerful one that I do is the one I can do on somebody in a few. When you guys, you don't have to stay, you can go to lunch, but
you have a captive audience.
Everybody's in a trance.
I just want to say this real quick too. There's a big, huge international martial arts event that's done yearly by a gentleman that I know out of Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's huge. So you got movie stars, you got martial arts superstars, and they request Sister Dana Marniche to come every year to do healings there at the event.
Wow.
Yes.
Which one are you talking about?
Goldberg.
Sifu?
Right. In Atlantic
Well,
City.
because I had two. There's one I'm not going to again because it's like small.
Right.
But the other one, I'm going to try to go to.
That's Goldberg's.
Yeah, Goldberg.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
right.
I didn't get this and I should have gone ahead. Yeah. But anyway. So the other one is very like long lasting. The energy is very long lasting. Like if you're having, like I said, if you're having problems getting along with people or something, or have accidents or have tendency to just things not going well in your life, you can notice right away the effects. Your life. There's something called spiritual arrangement, and you'll see effects of that right away, and it's long lasting. In other words, since your ancestors are happy, whenever your ancestors are happy, you become happy.
That's right.
Yeah. So happy, not happy wife, happy life, but happy ancestors.
All right. Heard that, then you want.
No, it's good.